dancing there by the wrecking machine. Must have been about my case 43. He was going strong, playing my favorite song. It wouldn't be long till he was with me, yeah me. I could tell it wouldn't be long till he was with me. Singing I love rock and roll. Put another down in the jukebox, baby. Okay, that's really bad. Yes, kids. Yes, everybody. It's GARBAUGUST. And yes, I am still bad at ukulele. Although I'm a little bit better than I was last time, I'm sure. And I pulled that one out because this week's read is Crossroads, the novelization of the Britney Spears film. Now, I explained that I had actually pulled this because it was advertised on Amazon as having been written by Britney Spears and Jenny Markas from the Shonda Rhimes screenplay. But Britney Spears actually did not write this one. There was a period in the kind of late 90s when, maybe early aughts, when Britney Spears did publish a couple of novels, but I couldn't find any of those for a reasonable price. So I went with this one. It's a pretty shot-by-shot telling of the actual, the story from the movie. There's not a whole lot of depth or background added to it. And I was kind of going over the entry on TV Tropes, and they pointed out that Britney Spears wanted to do some kind of, how deal with hard-hitting issues, but it's aimed at an audience of like 12-year, maybe even younger than that, like 9 to 11-year-olds. So they have to really, content-wise, they have to kind of really reduce anything bad happening, right? So it's kind of this muddled mess of sort of the light comedy, the friendship, the road trip, all that's fine. But then you've got all these issues like adultery and parental abandonment and teen pregnancy and rape and, all this other stuff. And it ends up being kind of a mess. I mean, they could have done a much better message about being yourself and making choices as a young adult without trying to add in all the drama that they couldn't really explore. But anyway, what do I know? So if my singing didn't make you uncomfortable enough, the next one I'm going to review, I actually had finished before, just before GARBAUGUST started. And I want to show you a little bit of this.
Myself a mini massage with aloe lotion. By doing this massage every day, I am literally staying in touch with my body. I can't help but be aware of whether or not I'm in shape.
Ooh.
Once you've really examined your body, you have faced the moment of truth. Of course, we're all a product of our genetic heritage, and certain things we cannot alter.
Are you uncomfortable yet?
Self-acceptance is vital.
Just give it a couple of minutes. Just,
There's something to like in everybody.
So this is Angela Lansbury's fitness video. I can't remember what it's called. Just look up Angela Lansbury fitness video. You get to see all of this. And this goes on a really entirely uncomfortable length of time. But, I watched it. And now I'm making you watch it. But I tell you, this is way more interesting than Coffee, Tea, or Murder by Jessica Fletcher. That book was... I assume it's probably about the same pace and level of whatever as an episode of this show, which I've never actually watched. The premise is that Jessica and all her friends they fly to merry old England for I guess they're testing out this, what do you call it, new airline owned by one of her rich friends. and this rich friend gets murdered. And so it's up to Jessica and her friend from Scotland Yard to solve the murder. And of course, there's, there's a lot of talking and talking, some eating, some more talking. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, I think I've tortured you with Angela Lansbury working out long enough. I think she does actually do some like squats and rolls and stuff a little bit later, but this is just the warm up. Wasn't that exciting? The fitness video is far, far more interesting than the book, though, unfortunately. So that was one of the, I guess it's kind of more like a defictionalization. I think I explained that before, that it's something that exists within the universe of the TV show, but that it becomes not fiction when they publish something along those lines. And I forgot to show you the cover. I'll show you the cover. So there's the cover of the book Coffee, Tea, or Murder by Jessica Fletcher and Donald Bain. I'm wondering if Donald Bain's a pseudonym or if it's a riff on the Ed McBain series, the Ed McBain novels, The 87th Precinct. Probably not, though. I think that probably is his real name. And the other book that I finished this week, Heatwave, Richard Castle. And I didn't notice this, when I looked, but she, for some reason, she appears to be naked. Why would a police detective holding a gun be naked? Although she does a significant scene naked. Like, just inexplicably. Hang on, I'm going to turn this. There we go. So I guess that's probably what that's supposed to represent, that scene. So the premise is that and again, this read a whole lot like an episode of the TV show. The main character is a New York City homicide detective. Her name's Nikki Heat, and she pairs up with a writer who goes by the name Jameson Rook Castle, get it? And a really rich guy is murdered, thrown off his balcony, and they have to figure out why. And this guy, so of course, as the story spirals out, he's broke. His wife is a gold digger. He's got some seedy friends, and the person, there's always kind of a bit of a formula to that show too. They start interrogating everybody, and then, the person that actually did it is the one that they end up, like, they talk to them early on. They get some stuff out of them, but then they start putting the pieces back together, and the pieces lead back to that person, right? So it's pretty formulaic. It's the only difference from the movie or from the TV show, I guess, would be that there's more scenes. There's a little more description. The author kind of goes out of his way to make to really set it in a specific time and place. It is summertime in New York City. The traffic is gridlocked. It is hotter than, Satan's ass. And the book kind of tries to really make that happen. Although there is one thing that crime novels never, ever, ever, ever seem to really explain right. This guy gets shot in the head. There used to be a website called rotten.com, and they showed what happens to the human face after a person gets shot in the head. And TV shows are always way too pretty after somebody's shot in the head. So anyway, I should probably leave it at that because I don't want to gross anybody out too much, but yeah. All right. I lost my train of thought anyway. So I'm probably just going to go back and practice my ukulele some more because I really, really need it. And I do have 2 other novelizations that I'm a lot more excited about. These ones were way better, and I'm a lot more interested in those stories than I am in these stories. So I will be back probably later in the week because it's now anything goes for GARBAUGUST. And but I did manage to get the assignment for this week, so happy about that. None of them was a particularly great choice, though. I probably could have spent my time on the other ones and been much more entertained. But that's what GARBAUGUST is about too, right? We read the trashy stuff because it's the stuff that we probably wouldn't read and probably won't read again. All right, hope you're reading lots of horror. Have a great day.